Welcome Titans to an intrepid adventure. You should watch the video as long as possible. Pay close attention, let's get started. Did you realize that the majority of us dedicate more time selecting what to watch on Netflix than comprehending our own value in relationships? Mind-boggling, isn't it? But here's the kicker. Recognizing your value isn't merely about experiencing positivity. It's about revolutionizing the way others perceive and treat you. It's akin to possessing a superpower in your dating life. However, countless individuals remain oblivious to this potential. Now, I'm not referring to those cliched self-help mantras that inundate us daily. I'm delving into something authentic and unfiltered. It's about grasping your significance through a viewpoint that has endured through centuries. Stoicism. Yes, you heard me correctly. Stoicism. This age-old philosophy isn't solely about stoically enduring pain or being emotionless. It's about comprehending what genuinely holds value in life, particularly in our interpersonal connections. So, grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's engage in a conversation. Like old pals, I'll guide you through tapping into your inner Stoic to uncover your genuine worth in relationships. And believe me, this isn't your run-of-the-mill relationship counsel. It's about emboldening yourself in ways you never deemed feasible. Are you prepared to embark on this journey? Let's commence. Chapter 1. Grasping your authentic worth. And deciphering the mysteries of a more enriching, respectful, and empowering romantic life. Stay tuned, because this is bound to be a game changer. Recognize your value. Now, I understand what you're thinking. Oh no, not another self-love pep talk. But stick with me, for this isn't your typical look in the mirror and tell yourself you're awesome spiel. So, what's the connection between Stoicism and understanding your worth in relationships? Surprisingly, quite a lot. The Stoics advocated for concentrating on what we can control, and guess what? Your self-worth is entirely within your grasp. It's not contingent on the number of likes you receive on Instagram, or whether someone swipes right on you. It's about how you perceive and esteem yourself. Picture this. Imagine you're a precious gemstone. Not everyone comprehends the value of a rare gem, right? Some may simply stroll past it, oblivious to its true worth. However, that doesn't diminish the gem's value. It remains valuable, rare, and unique. That's you. Your worth doesn't diminish just because someone fails to recognize it. Now let's get real for a moment. We've all experienced rejection. Feeling inadequate, especially in our hyper-connected world where everyone appears to be living their best life. But here's the Stoic twist. Your worth isn't contingent on someone else's validation. It's tied to how you conduct yourself, your virtues, your actions. Are you kind? Are you honest? Are you living authentically? That you're proud of. That's where your true value lies. The Stoics were big on self-reflection, so take a moment to think about your qualities, not just the surface stuff, but the deeper values. What makes you well you? Are you compassionate, resilient, a great listener? These are qualities that make up your worth, and here's the kicker. When you really know this deeply and truly, it changes how you interact in your relationships. You don't tolerate nonsense, not because you're arrogant, but because you respect yourself too much for that. And here's a little Stoic exercise for you. Next time you're feeling undervalued, instead of spiraling into self-doubt, ask yourself, what are the virtues and values I'm bringing to the table? Remind yourself of those. This isn't about becoming boastful. It's about quietly acknowledging to yourself that you are worthy regardless of external validation. It's like Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic emperors, said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." So when it comes to relationships, it's about finding strength in your own value, your own self-worth, independent of whether someone else sees it or not. Remember, knowing your worth isn't a one-time thing. It's a journey, a practice, something you cultivate and grow. It's about waking up every day and reminding yourself that you are valuable, not because of what someone else thinks, but because of who you are at your core. Step 2. Present yourself with dignity. Now, before you start picturing a Stoic as this stern, unsmiling figure from ancient times, let me set the record straight. Stoicism isn't about suppressing your emotions or being indifferent. It's about understanding what deserves your energy and what doesn't. And guess what? The way you present yourself, it deserves your energy. So let's chat about what it means to present yourself with dignity in relationships. You know how sometimes we try so hard to impress someone that we end up losing ourselves in the process. We dress a certain way, talk a certain way, all to get that approval. But here's the thing, and this is where our Stoic wisdom kicks in. Your dignity isn't in the clothes you wear or the cool places you hang out. It's in how you carry yourself, your actions. Chapter 2, The Art of Non-Verbal Communication. One is all flashy, trying hard to impress while the other is just comfortable in their own skin, confident, but not in an in-your-face kind of way. Who do you think leaves a lasting impression? It's the one who's genuine, right? That's the power of presenting yourself with dignity. The Stoics were all about living with integrity and self-respect. Now, how does that translate to our modern dating world? It's simple. Be unapologetically you. If you love geeking out over books, own it. If you're passionate about something, let that shine. It's not about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about being comfortable and confident in your own skin, knowing that you're worthy just as you are. And here's another thing, treating yourself with respect, with How you treat yourself sets the standard for how others will treat you. If you're constantly putting yourself down, guess what? You're telling the world that it's okay to do the same to you. But if you respect yourself, if you value your time, your energy, your emotions, you're sending out a message loud and clear. I am worthy of respect, and I expect to be treated as such. It's like what Epictetus, another great Stoic philosopher, said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. In the context of relationships, it's not just about how you look or what you say. It's about how you react, how you hold yourself in different situations. Are you reacting with desperation or dignity? Are you compromising your values just to fit in? Or are you standing firm even if it means standing alone? And this doesn't mean you need to be perfect. We're all human after all. We make mistakes. We have our awkward moments, but it's about how you handle those moments. Do you crumble under pressure? Or do you hold your head high, learn from it, and move on? So let's take a moment and think about this. How can we start presenting ourselves with more dignity? Maybe it's about setting boundaries, or maybe it's about saying no to things that don't align with our values. Or maybe it's as simple as treating ourselves with a little more kindness, a little more respect. Because when you do that, when you start seeing yourself as someone worthy of respect, the world starts seeing. It's to limit access. Now, I know how this might sound at first. A bit old-fashioned, perhaps, even a little stringent, but hear me out. It's not about playing hard to get. It's about self-respect and understanding your value. So what does Stoicism say about this? Stoicism teaches us the art of self-discipline and control, but not in a rigid, joyless way. It's about knowing what's truly valuable and not giving it away carelessly. In the world of instant gratification and endless swiping, this is like a breath of fresh air. Think about it. In relationships or when we're dating, there's often this rush to share everything, our time, our space, our deepest thoughts. But the Stoics would advise us to take a step back. Why? Because something that's easily available often loses its value. It's human nature. If you're always available at the drop of a hat, always saying yes to everything, where's the mystery, the depth, the anticipation? Now let's get practical. How do you limit access in a dignified, Stoic way? First, it's about how you present yourself. Dressing elegantly but modestly isn't just about fashion, it's a statement. It says, I value myself. You're not hiding away, but you're also not putting everything on display. There's a balance, a sense of I am more than just what meets the eye. Then there's your time and attention. In a world where we're constantly connected, being selective about who gets your time is a powerful thing. It's not about playing games, it's about saying, my time is valuable and I choose to spend it wisely. When you're with someone, be fully there, present, engaged. But when you're not, be okay with being unavailable, focused on your own life, your passions, your growth. Stoicism also teaches us about emotional self-control. This doesn't mean you become cold or detached, far from it. It means you don't let every little thing affect you deeply. You maintain a certain inner calm, a composure. You don't give away your emotional energy to just anyone. It has to be earned, just like your time and attention. Now, I'm not saying turn into a Stoic statue. We're all human, and connection is what makes life rich. But there's beauty in taking things slow, in building a connection that's not just based on instant access and immediate gratification. It's about building something that has depth, something that lasts. And remember, limiting access isn't about playing games or manipulation. It's about self-respect and aligning with your own values. It's about showing, not just through words but through actions, that you're someone who values themselves and therefore deserves to be valued. So here's to being a little more selective, a little more composed, a bit more stoic in our approach to relationships. It's about finding that sweet spot between being open and being discerning, between sharing and also holding back a tad. And trust me, it makes all the difference in how you're perceived and treated. Cheers to that, my friends, to valuing ourselves and being a bit more like the Stoics in our modern dating world. Show, don't tell, boundaries. You see, in Stoicism, there's a significant emphasis on action over words. The Stoics were all about show me, don't tell me, and this principle applies perfectly when we talk about setting boundaries in relationships. It's one thing to articulate your boundaries, but it's a whole other level to actually demonstrate them through your actions. Think about it this way. Anyone can verbalize, I won't tolerate being treated poorly. But the moment of truth comes when you're actually faced with that situation. Do you stand firm in your boundary or do you let it slide? That's where your real power lies. It's not in the saying, it's in the doing. Now, I'm not suggesting this is simple. It can be tough, especially when emotions are involved. But remember what our Stoic friends taught us. It's within our control to choose how we react to situations. If someone crosses a line, it's your reaction that defines your boundary, not your words. For instance, if you've made it clear that you value honesty and someone lies to you, how you handle that situation speaks volumes. Walking away or addressing the issue directly and calmly shows that you're serious about your boundary. It's not about creating drama. It's about respecting yourself enough to respond in a way that aligns with your values. This approach can be a game changer in relationships. When people see that you not only have boundaries but are willing to enforce them, they start to understand what you will and won't accept. It's about cultivating a sense of self-respect and sticking to it. And here's where it gets truly stoic. It's not just about the big things, it's about the small, everyday boundaries too. It's how you react when someone cancels plans last minute, or how you manage it when someone takes you for granted. Do you let it slide, or do you communicate through actions and composed words that this isn't acceptable? This is where the Stoic practice of mindfulness comes in, being aware of the present moment and how you're responding to it. Are your actions reflecting your boundaries? Are you remaining true to yourself? It's about being mindful of the small moments, because that's where the true test of your boundaries often lies. So as we navigate our day, as we engage with others, let's endeavor to be a bit more stoic in how we demonstrate our boundaries. It's not about being rigid or unyielding. It's about possessing that internal compass that directs your actions and reactions. And believe me, when you start living this way, people take notice. They begin to view you as someone who not only establishes boundaries, but also respects themselves enough to uphold them. Be prepared to walk away. In Stoicism, there's this elegant concept of detachment, not in a frigid or apathetic manner, but in understanding what we can and cannot control. And one of the most empowering choices we can make is whether to remain or depart from a situation that doesn't align with our well-being. This is where it becomes authentic. In relationships, we've all found ourselves in a circumstance where every fiber of our being screams, "This isn't what I deserve." Yet we remain. Perhaps it's fear of solitude, fear of change, or simply grasping onto hope that things will improve. But here's the Stoic insight. True power lies in acknowledging that remaining in a situation that compromises our principles is a choice, and we can opt differently. This doesn't imply abandoning ship at the slightest hint of trouble. Relationships necessitate effort, compromise, and patience. However, it's about understanding your value and principles so profoundly that when something fundamentally contradicts them, you're prepared to walk away. It's about possessing that inner resilience, that Stoic strength to assert, "I esteem myself enough not to settle for less than I deserve." Let's delve deeper. Being prepared to walk away is about self-respect. It's about not compromising your fundamental values and self-worth. And this needn't be a dramatic departure. Sometimes it's a tranquil decision, a serene realization that this isn't your path. Yes, it's intimidating, I comprehend. The unfamiliar can be daunting. But recall our Stoic mentors. They instructed us on confronting adversity with bravery, on embracing the unknown as part of life's natural rhythm. It's about acknowledging that sometimes the most courageous act is releasing something that isn't meant for you. This mindset revolutionizes everything. When you're in a relationship, recognizing that you're opting to stay not because you're fearful to depart, but because it harmonizes with your principles, that's potent. It alters the dynamics. You're not present out of dependency or apprehension. You're present out of volition. And here's the twist. When you possess the fortitude to step away from what doesn't benefit you, you unveil opportunities for what does. It's akin to clearing out the antiquated to make space for the novel. It's about having faith that there's something superior awaiting you and affording yourself the opportunity to uncover it. So as we contemplate over our coffee, let's remind ourselves that being prepared to depart isn't about being aloof or detached. It's about cherishing and esteeming ourselves sufficiently to declare, I merit better. It's about embodying a stoic demeanor in the face of challenges, understanding that our value isn't entwined with anyone or anything else. Number 6, concentrate on deeds, not utterances. So, Stoicism, as we've delved into, revolves around pragmatic sagacity. It's about appraising individuals based on their actions, not merely their persuasive rhetoric. We reside in a realm abundant with alluring verbiage and hollow pledges, particularly concerning relationships. Yet Stoics prompt us to delve deeper. They instruct us to scrutinize actions because actions unveil the veracity. Ponder upon it. It's facile for someone to articulate all the correct things, to make pledges, to sketch a vision of a future that appears flawless. But are they enacting what they profess? Next chapter, deeds roar louder than words. Are their actions substantiating their words? That's where the authentic narrative resides. Now let's confront reality for a moment. We've all experienced it, right? We encounter someone, they utter all these astounding things and we're swept off our feet. However, as time progresses, the actions don't quite match up. They promise to call, yet they fail to do so. They arrange plans, then cancel abruptly, yet their words keep us hanging on. This is where our inner Stoic must emerge. Stoicism instructs us not to be swayed by words or succumb to emotions. It's about maintaining rationality, about perceiving things as they truly are. If someone's actions diverge from their words, that's a warning sign. It's the universe's way of signaling, hey, pay heed, something's amiss here. This approach transforms how you traverse relationships. Instead of becoming ensnared in romantic rhetoric and assurances, you commence observing the minutiae. How do they behave under stress? Do they uphold their promises? Are they present for you not only verbally but in concrete, tangible ways? And here's the intriguing aspect. When you begin concentrating on actions, you establish a benchmark. You convey a message that declares, I'm not merely heeding your words, I'm scrutinizing your deeds. And people respond to that. They realize they can't simply charm their way into your life, they must demonstrate their merit, their intentions. Nonetheless, remember, this isn't about adopting a cynical or distrustful stance towards everyone. It's about being astute about safeguarding your heart with a layer of Stoic insight. It's about not being swept away by emotions, but remaining grounded in reality. So, as we sip our coffee and contemplate this, let's remind ourselves to observe actions, not just heed words. Let's embody Stoicism in love, rational, perceptive, and sagacious, because ultimately actions will always resonate louder than words. Next chapter, fostering healthy skepticism. Skepticism and Stoicism go hand in hand. The Stoics advocated for seeing things as they truly are, not merely as we wish them to be. In the realm of love and dating, this is highly pertinent. We've all witnessed it, right? Someone utters all the right things, and we yearn to believe it so fervently that we overlook those subtle red flags fluttering in the background. However, here's where our inner Stoic intervenes. Embracing a healthy dose of skepticism is akin to possessing a superpower. It doesn't denote negativity or cynicism. Instead, it signifies being grounded, not accepting everything at face value. It involves observing, questioning, and refraining from plunging headfirst without due consideration. Let's envision a scenario. You encounter someone who appears fantastic, saying all these marvelous things, envisioning a shared future. Yet it's only been a few weeks. Your skeptical Stoic side prompts you to proceed with caution. Let's ascertain if their actions align with their words, let's observe how events unfold. It serves as a reality check, urging you not to lose yourself in the romance and neglect to keep your feet firmly planted on the ground. This skepticism isn't about bombarding the other person with inquiries or doubting their every move. It's about mindfulness, listening to their words while also scrutinizing their actions. It entails taking the time to genuinely comprehend someone, to discern if they are consistent, if they are authentic. The Stoics emphasize the use of logic and reason, eschewing the whims of emotions, especially in relationships. This proves pivotal. When emotions steer the course, much can be overlooked. However, by tempering those emotions with a hint of skepticism, with logic, we afford ourselves the opportunity to perceive matters clearly. Moreover, it's about safeguarding your heart by exercising a modicum of skepticism. It's not about plunging into something without certainty, but affording yourself the space to comprehend who the other person truly is, not just the image you wish them to embody. So as we relish our coffee and contemplate this, let's prompt ourselves to embrace that Stoic skepticism. It's about being discerning, observant, and impervious to being carried away. It's about nurturing ourselves and our hearts. It's not about erecting barriers, but about cautiously and wisely unlocking doors. Chapter 8. The Authority of Declining. In Stoicism, there's a robust emphasis on self-respect and the fortitude to adhere to your principles. This directly correlates to our capacity to decline in relationships. It's about discerning what you stand for and not hesitating to maintain your standards, even if it disrupts the status quo. Let's envisage a scenario. You're dating someone, and they propose something that doesn't align with your beliefs. Perhaps it's progressing too swiftly or compromising your values in some manner. The simple path is to acquiesce, right? However, this is where your inner Stoic must intervene. Declining in such instances is about honoring yourself, your principles, and your limits. Now, I'm not insinuating this is effortless. It can be exceedingly challenging, especially when you care for the individual. There's always that nagging voice in the back of your mind, pondering the consequences of potentially driving them away. Nonetheless, my friend, this is where bravery is imperative. Stoicism imparts lessons on courage, not solely in confronting external obstacles, but also in addressing internal dilemmas. Declining is about possessing self-esteem. It's about demonstrating that you esteem yourself sufficiently to refrain from settling for less than you deserve. Undoubtedly, it's a gamble. You may lose them. However, if declining something contrary to your values prompts someone's departure, then perhaps they weren't compatible with you from the outset. This approach can truly revolutionize the dynamics of a relationship. When someone perceives that you're unafraid to decline, that you're not merely striving to appease them at the expense of your convictions, it alters their viewpoint. It illustrates that you're an individual with self-regard, someone who values themselves. And let me tell you, that's appealing. Furthermore, here's another Stoic revelation. Declining isn't solely about establishing boundaries with others. It's also about being forthright with yourself. It's about recognizing what you genuinely desire and require in a relationship and not compromising on that. It's about not allowing the apprehension of solitude to coerce you into decisions that aren't suitable for you. Next chapter, assertive refusals. So as we enjoy another sip of our coffee, let's contemplate this. Let's remind ourselves that it's acceptable to decline. It's more than acceptable, it's imperative. It's about staying faithful to ourselves, about living with honesty, just as the Stoics instructed us. It's about constructing relationships founded on mutual admiration and authentic connection, not on apprehension and concession. Next chapter, never pursue. This seamlessly aligns with everything we've been discussing, particularly when viewed through our Stoic perspective. In Stoicism, there's a significant emphasis on concentrating on what's within our jurisdiction and relinquishing what isn't. This ideology wields immense influence when applied to relationships. It's about comprehending that pursuing someone who's withdrawing is not only fruitless, but also incongruent with respecting ourselves and our intrinsic value. Consider this scenario. You're involved with someone and everything seems to be progressing positively, but then they begin to distance themselves. The instinct, and trust me, we've all experienced it, is to pursue them, to attempt to bridge that gap. However, here's where our Stoic teachings intervene. The Stoics would question, why are you pursuing something beyond your control? And the response is your dignity, your self-esteem, your tranquility. Pursuing someone who's withdrawing is akin to clutching at water. It's ineffective and leaves you feeling hollow instead. The Stoic approach is to stand resolute in your own value. If someone is moving away from you, allow them. Next chapter, never pursue, always appreciate. It's not about being impassive or detached. It's about acknowledging that you can't dictate how someone else feels or behaves, but you can manage how you react. Now, let's be candid. This isn't simple. It necessitates considerable fortitude to refrain from pursuing, to resist that impulse. However, it's about having faith that if someone genuinely desires to be with you, they will. It's about not diminishing your value based on someone else's actions or inactions. It's about affirming my worthiness, and if you don't recognize it, someone else will. This mindset revolutionizes everything. It transfers the control back to you. You're no longer subject to someone else's whims. You're managing your own emotions, your own decisions. It's empowering and frankly, it's liberating. And here's the catch. When you cease pursuing, when you begin focusing on yourself, on your personal growth, remarkable things occur. You draw individuals who are attracted to that resilience, that assurance, that self-esteem. It's as if you're broadcasting a signal that declares, I'm deserving and I'm aware of it. So as we conclude our coffee, let's internalize this, let's remind ourselves. Conclusion, embrace tacit love. That we never need to pursue anyone. Let's adopt a Stoic stance in our relationships, grounded, self-respecting and concentrated on what we can manage. It's about discovering tranquility within ourselves, not from someone else's approval. As we wrap up our dialogue today, I want you to recall something crucial. In life's intricate design, your self-esteem is the most vibrant strand that binds everything together. Just like the Stoics, you possess the authority to determine how you respond to the world around you. Remember, you are the architect of your own self-respect, the guardian of your dignity. Embrace this authority. Let your actions, your decisions, and your limits reflect the remarkable individual you are. And if you ever feel uncertain, recollect this moment, our conversation over coffee, and the sagacity of the Stoics that we've exchanged. You're not merely traversing through life, you're evolving through it, stronger and wiser with each passing day, Titan.